is aching. Smile even though it's breaking.
It is an honor to introduce our next guest, Karen Coauthor, mother of TV star Christopher Coauthor. You may know him from the new show. There's second season now of Glee. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And you're also the mother of another superstar, and that's your daughter, Hannah. I know it's been a very difficult journey with Hannah. You have Christopher, who appears to be the picture of health, and Hannah, who's had her challenges. Talk about Hannah.
Well, Hannah struggles every day just to live, and she was perfect until she was about 2.5, and we had noticed she had started having these little staring spells, and First I really thought she was just 2 and starting to ignore me like a 2-year-old would. But then I noticed it was a little more than that, and we took her to the doctor, and after a lot of things with the doctor, we found out she was having seizures. And we were first told it wasn't uncommon. Lots of kids have seizures. They would put her on medication. In a couple of years, we'd wean her off. We probably wouldn't see them anymore. But Hannah falls into a 3% category where her seizures have never responded to medication. So Hannah now is 14 years old, but she has over 50 seizures every hour of every single day. So she's 14, and it is like, if you can imagine, the best way to describe this is that if somebody had a light switch to your brain, they were going on and off, on and off, on and off. So she's always having to reacclimate herself to figure out, what she's doing. We've been told it's amazing she is where she is because of the fact that it's constant interruptions in her brain. And then in all of the medical stuff we've been through with her, the people have said, if we can just find a key to make her want to hold on to information, we believe she'll be able to read. And this teacher of hers found this program, and this year was so exciting because my daughter came home and read 4 sentences to me.
Oh, boy. That had to just
thrill
you.
I cried like a baby. And she said to me, "Mommy, are those happy tears?"
Oh.
And I said, "Oh, honey, these are happy tears." And I've said, I'm every bit as proud as Hannah as I am Christopher.
Gosh, absolutely. Now, you said 50 seizures.
50 seizures every hour, every day.
Almost 1 a minute.
Yes, and sometimes more. The 50 seizures every hour, every day are the ones we live with nonstop. Then Hannah has something called status epilepticus, which is when her whole brain starts seizing, and I find her in like a coma state. She's nonverbal, she's non-responsive, she's just not there. And I'll tell you, she's not there because she doesn't have any way to get out because her whole brain is seizing. We go to ICU every time she goes into one of these statuses because they put so much medication in her to to kind of like reboot her brain, to kind of, if they want to try to shut the brain off and then have it start again. And so they have to just give her these meds to try to get this cycle to break. I literally have stood by her bed in an ICU room for 16 hours plus waiting for the cycle to stop, not knowing that when it stopped, was my daughter going to be with me? Was it going to cause any permanent damage? Was she going to be able to talk to me? There are so many questions, and I would like to tell you in the 12 years we've been dealing with this that it gets easier, but it does not. It gets harder.
How often do these big seizures come upon her?
The statuses, we usually experience a status 1 to 3 times a month. We have a protocol of drugs that we use at home, and if we're lucky and we get them before they get her, then the protocol of drugs we use within our home will stop them. We don't have to make a hospital visit.
Is there a place in the world that specializes in this type of thing?
There is an organization that I have affiliated myself with now that Christopher's gone and I have some time. I'm not, bombarded raising 2 kids. I can get her to school, and then I am spending my time, I'm affiliating myself with an organization called CURE. And the reason I'm affiliating myself with this organization is 94 cents out of every dollar they earn goes back into finding a cure for epilepsy. We need a cure.
So this is what Hannah has, is epilepsy, a form of epilepsy.
Yes, and there's got to be a cure. I mean,
Now, I was going to say, what's out there? There's some new drugs, some new exciting breakthroughs that may be out there?
there's always new drugs in the market. In fact, last summer we tried one of the new ones that came out, and it almost killed her. She had one of the worst seizures she'd ever had to date. We had to go to the hospital by ambulance that time. It was just grand mal. There's several types of seizures. Hannah's diagnosis generalized seizures. Then there are seizures that you can call focal seizures, where they can put you under an MRI and they can see those focal points right where those seizures are originating. And then you have your grand mal seizures, which I think most people feel that the grand mal seizures is that seizure kids that's when their body's shaking all over. And so there's all types of seizures. And I had to look for a long time to find an organization that I wanted to be part of, because a lot of the organizations out there, they want to teach you how to live with it. Well, let me tell you, after 12 years, I know how to live with it. I want a cure for it. Mm-hmm. And there's not enough funding. Epilepsy kills more people than breast cancer, but it's not talked about.
My goodness, no. That's a startling statistic.
It is. And I'm on a mission. I'm not going to quit until you go to the grocery store and your checker at the grocery store says to you, would you like to donate for the cause of epilepsy? Because they do it for everything else. Why not epilepsy? Because there is a cure. There's no reason why we shouldn't have the money to fund this kind of research we need.
Well, I tell you, anytime there's a big breakthrough in something like this in terms of funding, it always has a champion. And I'm looking at a champion, I think, right here. I mean, it really does. It take somebody to really focus on it and just not take no for an answer, and that are totally committed to it. And you're going to move forward with your awareness program. And do you have
what I did was
game plan here?
Yeah, I did. I've written a book with a writer, and the book is hopefully going to do several things. The number one thing I'm hoping, bluntly, that when somebody reads Hannah's story, it will want to open up wallets, so they're going to want to donate. And where they're going to donate is they're going to donate to CURE, which is the Citizens United for Research in Epilepsy, because like I said, 94 cents of every dollar they put back into the research. So that's the first thing I want the book to do. The second is for parents, because I've been doing this for 12 years. I've never given up on my daughter. I will never give up on my daughter. But there are things that we have gone through, like the very first time she had an EEG, that they don't tell you. They totally drug your child with ketamine, and they do this EEG, and they hand your child back to you, and they're so drugged out of their minds they can't hold their own head up. Well, then they say, okay, well, here's your kid, go home now. Oh, okay, well, thank you, but she can't walk for the next 4 hours. She can barely hold her head up. We were both sleep deprived, because in order to have that test, they want them sleep deprived. And so
you want Hannah sleep
They wanted
deprived.
Hannah sleep deprived. So guess who had to try to keep her up all night? Mom and Dad did.
Oh, my goodness.
So by the time we got home, that was when our fight really started, because she was so drugged. And this was back when she was 2. Right. Now she's 14. But I have so many things in the book, and we call them note to parents. When the doctors are telling you this, as a parent, you need to know this. Mm-hmm. When they tell you this can't be done, let me tell you something. Yes, it can be done.
And as a parent, you have a right to question.
And you need to question.
You need to question.
Because, when my daughter first started having seizures and they first started all of the medication, we had a crucial question for one of the specialists in San Francisco we saw. And that is, we said, what are her chances on this medication? Because her medication clearly hadn't been working for her. And why are you putting her on all this medication? Well, if we put her on this medication, there's a 50% chance she'll never have grand mal seizures. And we said, well, what's the percentage if we don't put her on the medication? Well, that's 50%. Well, okay, I'd rather take my 50% chances having a clear-headed, undrugged child than you putting all this poison in her system when it's not doing anything anyway. So as a parent, you have to be able to stand up and say, I don't think so. So the book, and my book is titled Seizing Every Day, because we have to seize we seize every day, but we also have to seize every day and every moment we have with her. And you know what? Every day when she, especially
it's a great title.
Well, and
it
you know
really is. I know what you mean. The double, yeah, that's powerful. But you have to seize it and just stay with it, and
we have to figure out in her life the things that Hannah can do. We don't talk about the things that Hannah can't do. So and I've said to my writer, I'm going to be the Norma Ray of epilepsy. I'm going to be the person out there standing on my box, for anybody who wants to listen about this disease, because it needs to be cured.
Well, I tell you, Karen, I just can't tell you how much I respect you as a mother and your whole family, and what an inspiration to all of us.
Thank you so very much.